Welcome to Birds of a Feather. Today we're taking this white yarn and we're turning it into a white pumpkin, a herringbone pumpkin to be exact. So I'm just going to grab my crochet hook and we'll be ready to get started in just a moment.
Color outside the lines.
To start, I'm just going to make a slip knot. And I'm going to leave a tail so that I can sew this up later. And then we're just going to chain. Now for this particular pumpkin, I'm going to do, I think, around 28. So that's 2, 4, 5, 6, 28. So I've got my chain. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to crochet into the back bumps here. So you're going to crochet a single crochet into the first available back bump, and that's right here. I'm going to pull up a loop, yarn over, and through 2 loops on the hook. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put the hook through this vertical stitch here, and it's the one closest to the working yarn. So you're going to put your crochet hook right through, then into the back bump, yarn over, pull it up so it's as high as the rest of the stitches, yarn over again, and pull it through all 3 loops on your hook. Once again, you're going to insert your hook into that vertical stitch there, then into the back bump, pull up your loop, make sure it's as high as the rest of the stitches, yarn over, and pull through all loops on the hook. Into the back bump, pull through, yarn over, and through all the loops. As you can see, it's starting to form those diagonal stitches here. So we're just going to repeat that all the way down the row until we get to the end. So I'm going to pause here, I'm going to let you catch up to me, and then we're going to continue on with the second row. And this is a repeating pattern of 2 rows. So meet me right back here when you get to the end of the row and we'll start row 2. So here we are at the end of the first row, and we're going to chain 1 and turn. So chain 1 and turn your work. Now what we're going to do is we're going to turn the work toward us, and we want to insert from the back. So we're going to put it through these 2 stitches, but we also want to catch this 3rd one here. Then we're going to yarn over and pull through and twist, yarn over and pull through both loops on the hook. Now that twisting action is going to seem a little awkward at first, but you will get used to it. So again, you're going to turn your work and you're going to find that vertical bar that's closest to the working yarn, which is right here. You're going to insert it. Then you're going to find your next stitch. You're going to insert it through the back to the front, but you want to make sure you're catching that 3rd loop here. So you've got 3 loops on your hook. You're going to grab the yarn, pull it through, twist it, and again you want to make sure that this stitch is as high as the rest of the stitches. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. I'll do that one more time. You're going to insert through that vertical bar that's closest to the working yarn. You want to insert back to front through those 2 loops, but you want to catch the 3rd also. Bring the yarn over, twist it around, make sure you're as high as the rest of the stitches here, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Now this is the back of your work. I'll just turn it around and show you that it's starting to form this herringbone look. Now the reason we go through those 3 loops and not 2, I'll just show you this example. That's because you end up with these unsightly gaps here to your herringbone. As you can see daylight right through there, and I don't think that's a look that I really like. So that's why we're going through 3 loops instead of the traditional 2 of the typical chain, as you see here. Okay, I'll show you that one more time. You're going to turn the work toward you. You're going to insert the hook into the vertical bar closest to the working yarn. You're going to insert your hook into the next stitch from back to front, and you're going to capture 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, or rather 3 loops. Yarn over, twist, and pull. Yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. So again, you're turning the work towards you, putting into that vertical bar. Into the next stitch from back to front, you want to capture that 3rd loop, yarn over, pull through, twist, yarn over, pull through all 3 stitches. Turn the work towards you, through that last vertical bar, into the next stitch, and make sure you're capturing 3 loops, yarn over, twist it around, yarn over, pull through 3 loops. And here's how it's looking on the right side of the work. As you can see, I hope you can see if I can focus, we're forming that beautiful herringbone. So just a few more to the end of the row. Insert through the vertical bar, capture 3 loops, yarn over, twist it around, yarn over and through all 3. Capture that vertical bar, through the next stitch back to front, yarn over, twist it around, yarn over, and through 3 loops on the hook. Into the vertical bar, into the next stitch back to front, capture 3 loops, yarn over, twist it around, and then again making sure that you're even with the loops that you have on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. Again through that vertical bar, through the next stitch. Now there's 2, you want to make sure you've got 3. Yarn over, pull through and twist around, yarn over, and through all 3 loops. We're at the end of row 2, we're on the very last stitch, so we're going to come into that vertical bar, into the next stitch. We're going to grab our 2, but you want to make sure you grab 3. So we're also going to come into this loop here at the edge. Can be tricky to get. You just want to capture that. So you've got your 3 loops on the hook. You're going to yarn over, pull through, twist around, yarn over, and through all 3 hoops. Now when you look on the right side, you can see your herringbone diagonal continues. You always must capture 3 loops for every stitch that you do, even at the ends. So we're going to chain 1, turn around, we're going to do a regular single crochet, insert into the vertical bar, then we're coming through our 3 loops there. Just always check to make sure you've got 3. Again, through the vertical bar, through all 3, pull through, yarn over, through all 3 loops. Through the vertical bar, you're going to make sure you're coming through all 3. Bring your yarn through, yarn over, and through all 3 loops on the hook. So you're going to continue the 2 pattern repeat until you have the number of rows that you want. As you can see, I've jumped ahead and I've finished my pumpkin. So I'm just going to show you that I've done 5 sections here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And what I've done is I've crocheted the 2-row repeat, but I've ended on the 7th row. And then I go into a 2-row repeat for this rib section here, where we're going to decrease stitches and then increase stitches, and then go right back into our 7-row repeat here. So I invite you to go to birdsofafeather.ca and get the pattern so that you can do this part. And then if I can also show you, I've done some surface crochet. I've done a chain stitch through the holes that 2-row repeat will leave, just to emphasize those ribs. Lastly, I've crocheted a stalk. So I'm just going to grab my other yarn. We're going to be using a much thinner yarn for the stalk, and I'll show you how to do that. We crocheted the body of the pumpkin in this Cleo yarn by Debbie Bliss. For the stem of the pumpkin, we're going to be switching yarns to this 24/7 cotton. It's a much thinner yarn, so whereas we were using a 4.5 hook for the main body of the pumpkin, we're going to switch over to a 3.5 here. So let's get started by doing a magic circle. We're going to cross our yarn over. We're going to insert the hook over that first one, pull it through. Then we're going to yarn over and do our first stitch here. Then we're going to go into 6 single crochets. So that's 1, 2, and 6. Once I've got my 6 single crochets, I'm going to tighten up that magic circle, hold it really tight, and I'm going to start crocheting into the back loop only. So I'm going to complete another single crochet, then I'm going to add a stitch marker, and I'm using just a simple bobby pin here. Just going to pop it in so I can keep track. And again, working into the back loop only. We're going to work single crochets, 6 of them, around the 6 stitches we just completed. And I do want to point out that I am working in this tail end. I'm capturing it so that the magic circle can't come loose. So I'm just catching in that tail end as I crochet around. Okay, now I'm back to the beginning again. Row 2 is single crochet around again, but I'm going into both loops this time. So I'll insert my stitch marker again and complete 6 single crochets around the circle, but this time going into both loops. From this point forward, we're going to be crocheting into both loops. And again, I still like to capture that tail end. Okay, so now I can tuck that tail end away. It becomes awkward to work with, so you can just tuck it right in there. For the next row, I'm going to increase. So for the next stitch, I'm just going to do a single crochet. Then I'm going to put my stitch marker in. And then I'm going to increase. So that means we're going to be doing 2 single crochets into this stitch. So that's 1 and 2. You're going to repeat that 2-stitch repeat all the way around. So another single crochet and then an increase. So that's 1 and 2. Single crochet and then increase. So that's 1 and 2. From this point forward, we're going to be doing single crochets for the next 9 rows. So I'm going to pause the camera here. I'm going to do this off camera and I'll meet you right back here once I've completed those 9 rows. At this point, I still have 3 rows to go, but I just want to show you that sometimes it's better to stuff as you go, because the longer it gets, the harder it is to get into the ends here. So I'll just add a little bit of stuffing. And you want to make sure that that tip is flat here. You want it to look stalk-like, like a stem. So make sure that's flattened out, stuff it. And I'm going to continue on and finish those 3 rows. So meet me right back here. So we've completed our 9 rows. And now we're heading into row 13. So for this row, we're going to flare out. So the first stitch is going to be an increase. So that's 1. But we're going to place our stitch marker first before we complete our second stitch there. We're going to do our increase, so that's 2 stitches. And then a single crochet. That's our 2-stitch repeat. So again, we're going to increase 2 stitches in the next stitch. Whoops. There's the second one. Next one is a single crochet. Again, we're going to increase, so that's 2 stitches. And a single crochet. An increase, so that's 2 stitches. A single crochet. And we're finishing with an increase, another 2 stitches. As you can see, we're starting to flare out at the bottom here. So our last and final row, I'll just remove the stitch marker. We're going to start with just a single crochet. Insert our stitch marker. And then we're going to start our increase. So 2 single crochets into the next stitch. And then a single crochet. And then 2 single crochets into the next stitch. And then a single crochet. and then 2 single crochets into the next stitch, and then a single crochet, and I have to pause here and grab the phone. Okay, so let's finish that row. So we're increasing into that same stitch, then a single crochet, next one is an increase, and I want to remind you that the pattern is at birdsofafeather.ca, and what I'll do is I'll provide a link down in the comments
And also in the description.
and then you'll be able to go and actually read that pattern and follow along. Whoops, caught the wrong one. Make sure it's through both loops. And the last one is an increase. Okay, so as you can see, we've got that nice flare out. You're going to cut this off, leaving a long tail so that you can stitch it onto the pumpkin. And then we're just going to get some more stuffing, and we're going to stuff it so it's nice and firm. And I like to bend it just a touch once I have it on there. So I'll finish stuffing that, and I'll be able to sew that onto my next pumpkin. And again, we're just going to stitch it around after we gather up our pumpkin. So to finish this pumpkin, you're going to locate those areas where we created the ribs. Then you're going to locate those holes, and you're going to do a surface crochet chain stitch right through that length. That's going to define the ribs. Then from there, you're going to fold up your rectangle until you have right sides together. You're going to single crochet right across that seam so that you form a tube. Then what you're going to do is you're going to weave in and out around that circular area on the top and the bottom. You're going to gather up both. Then of course you're going to stuff the body of the pumpkin, and then you'll finish by sewing the stem right to the top. And here it is, all finished.
With the holidays coming up soon after Halloween, you might want to crochet this next pattern. Check out this next video. You can find the full tutorial over at birdsofafeather.ca, and don't forget to like, share, and follow right here.